Also, like I said, looking at the attendance of the events. So the last like three events that I've gone to, um, I would say that I've made about like 2 to 3 weeks worth of normal book sales that I would expect at this point.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah. So and like I usually sell out of at least one thing that I have.
Hello, aligned authors. I'm Valerie Isan, and this is episode 218 of the podcast, and it is July 15th, 2026, as I record this. Today's main topic is pockets of pivots, pivoting and tweaking your way through the first year as a full-time writer with repeat guest, JP Rindfleisch IX. I want to thank wholeheartedly all of my patrons. Thank you so much for the existing patrons and the ones that are going to join soon. If you've been on the fence, just know that any work that I do will be available on the Patreon tiers. If you want to support me and my dreams and my writing and my aligned author life, you can do that for $11.11. And if you want coaching too, in addition to all my content, then you can get 2 live calls each month by backing me at $55.55. You will never find coaching sessions for less money than this. So if you've ever wanted continued support for your writing, accountability for your projects, or just hang out with the witchy book doula and draw oracle cards or whatever, then this is the way to do it. So you can become a patron of the arts and of me at patreon.com/Valerie Isan, IHSAN. I am actually batching this episode, so I don't have a new author update from last week because this is actually very close to when I recorded the other one. But know that I am working hard behind the scenes, looking into specific venues for the new retreat coming up in Costa Rica. And the name of the retreat is Finding Your Voice. Again, a wild, winding path to honest, embodied, and earthy writing. So that's going to be in Costa Rica towards the end of February, maybe into the beginning of March. I don't have set days yet because I don't have the venue yet. So as soon as I know that, I'm going to be sending out the email for the people that are on the retreat waiting list. So if you are interested in getting more information about coming to Costa Rica for a writing retreat, then you can go to valerieisan.com/retreat and sign up for the wait list there. And that just means you'll be getting emails about the retreat itself. And I just want to remind folks that there is a free mini writing retreat for patron members and followers. And that's going to be on Thursday, August 27th at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. It's going to be 2 hours long. We'll do lighting a candle, just creating a circle of safety, drawing an oracle card to set an intention, doing a little guided meditation. We'll do a check-in, and then we'll write together. It's going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. And any of my new essays go up on Patreon first before the blog, so you can check out that stuff on the patron feed. All right, let's get into the interview. JP Rindfleisch IX writes stories where whimsy meets the weird, cozy queer fantasy, and strange fiction about grief, transformation, and unapologetic queer joy. Their first solo novel, Mandrake Manor, won the 2025 IPPY Silver Medal in LGBTQ plus fiction, the 2024 Reader Ready Award top pick, and the 2023 American Writing Awards finalist nod. Since then, the catalog has kept growing. Mosswood Apothecary, Tales of Valdeas, a complete six-book Dark Paranormal Academy series co-written with A.B. Cohen, The Paranormal Comedy Nerds, National Recently Deceased Services with Jeff Elkins, and more still coming. You are such a prolific writer, JP. Away from fiction, JP is a three-story method certified editor. Me too.
Woo! High five.
High five. And dialogue doctor, the author of the Craft Guide, Story Hypothesis, the missing piece of your fiction puzzle, and current co-host of Right, Wrong, Repeat. They also founded Rockford Area Writers because someone told them writing was a solitary practice and they disagreed. The community is now 80 plus members strong. JP lives in Rockford, Illinois, with a very chatty African gray parrot and a husky with strong feelings about the walk schedule. When they're not writing, you'll find them cooking something vegan or somewhere on a trail. Represented by Elaine Spencer of the Night Agency, who has placed 5 audiobook deals with Tantor Media and Simon Maverick. Welcome back to the podcast, JP.
Oh, I'm so happy to be back.
You are our most repeated guest.
Good. That makes me happy. Also, today is the release day for Monster Apothecary's audiobook.
Yay! I know. I was hoping you'd bring that up. It's the same.
I'm very excited.
It's the same narrator, right? As
Yep. And Kurt Graves.
Kurt Graves. And he's also the one that did Legend. Did he do Legends and Latte?
He did Wolf Song by TJ Klune.
Oh yeah,
and
yes,
he's done a couple
TJ
by
Klune.
TJ Klune.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
That's right. I knew it was him.
Yeah.
I knew it was another book that I had read.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All
so
right.
That's super fun.
So today you and I are talking about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And mostly I think we decided to call this episode the 10 of Swords business pivot plan. I don't know if anybody else will get that.
Right.
So, you know, from one witchy persona to another, tell us a little bit about the 10 of Swords and why you needed to, let's just start there.
Yeah. So, for those that don't know tarot or need a refresher, the Ten of Swords is the rock bottom card. It's often depicted by a person laying face down with 10 swords in their back. It's not a pretty picture.
Oh my God.
I think, I pulled the Ten of Swords for May of this year. Every year I pull tarot for every month and then also a yearly card. And May, technically April, was the 1 year anniversary from being laid off from the day job. So it served as like a 1 year later, where's your business at? 10 of Swords.
Oh God.
Like, cool. Great. And then the subsequent cards for June and then for July. For June, it was the Knight of Swords, I think. And then for July this month, it's the Five of Pentacles, which isn't a great card either. It's, it's like you're outside of the party and you're kind of needing the inflow of cash, basically. So it's been an interesting 3 months. The middle of it, the June, was decisive action. So Knight of Swords is like making clear-cut decisions. So it's flowed perfectly in the sense of rock bottom, making clear cuts, and now we're slowly like building back up from where we're going. And it's very reflective of what has happened in the past couple of months.
Okay. So, but the first full year of you being a full-time writer, did that go as planned? I mean, the whole thing wasn't planned.
The whole thing was not planned. So I was laid off from the day job in April. And luckily I had some severance to that, which went on until like July, I think, or June. And then I also ran a Kickstarter. And so there were a lot of like good things that happened that year. And there's by no means nothing bad that's happened this year, but it's been sort of the lack of new things coming out because one of my talents is balancing everything on the plate, and then nothing comes out because I'm working on everything on the plate.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's the way I
I
read. I
yeah,
read
yeah,
like
you
10 books at a time, so there's months that go by where I haven't finished a book. That's because I'm
yeah,
reading 10 books at a time.
yeah. I have to read one at a time, otherwise I will never pick up another book. Um but yeah, so I've realized now that the cards were very reflective of the times just because there hasn't really been a story out since October, which is okay, but I do have a lot of books that are like on the cusp of coming out. So
Hmm.
it's like just waiting for those things to sort of jump over the edge.
Okay, so then the Ten of Swords business plan pivot. So May is when the Ten of Swords card arrived. Was
Yes.
that actually when you were like, oh no, I have to make all these decisions, I have to pivot? Or was it
Yeah, so
June when you started pivoting?
the pivot, we'll just talk about what happened or something along those lines. So I've had pretty good progress with the business. I've been seeing some good things with ads. And then I started to hear grumblings from other people about their ads not working. I was like, mine's fine. We're fine. Everything's good. And slowly but surely, I started to see sort of the tail off of paid ads. And I started pulling away a little bit more from socials because I was more focused on the ads. And then in May, it was sort of like a realization of like, am I doing what I'm happy with doing, which is paying for a bunch of ads and doing less socials and handing it over to somebody else? Or do I want to be doing more stuff? Do I want to be more present? Um, and so I realized that the current model I was doing, which was a lot of ad stuff, a lot of paying for my books to show up wasn't working because I only have like 3 books present. And while for a time Mandrake Manor was doing amazing over on TikTok Shop, um, there was diminishing returns because what do they get next? There was nothing there.
Hmm.
So I've started making the pivot, and that's when I started making clear decisions of I need to be more present in the social platforms because I can't be paying for ads because it just doesn't work for me. I really like selling. I really like having that presence. So this past like few weeks, I've been doing TikTok lives and seeing a lot of success or more success over there. I've focusing more on doing events like this, showing up on podcasts, trying to do more talking events as well as more book fairs. And I'm finding that even though they can be draining, they are what I enjoy. And I feel like there was a time where during the last year, of the business, I was focusing more and more on like maybe the revenue, maybe just trying to make sure everything was balanced and not focusing on, well, what am I actually enjoying? And I'm still
Hmm.
figuring that out. But I think that part of that is that presence. I love being a voice in the writer space. I love researching writing and talking about writing. I haven't done any of that. Like, what am I doing? So yeah, I feel like I've really sort of rediscovered my joy, which is being present and talking story with both fans of, and readers as well as just people who love writing.
Hmm. Ah, that's so awesome to realign yourself with your values and remember what they are in the first place.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that like I need almost like a reminder every month, and I think that that's what the tarot does of like,
Mm.
are you doing what you want to do or are you doing what you feel like you have to do or like what
Mm.
everyone else is doing. I think that part of the reason why I got so tied up in ads was because I felt like I had to add on more because like everyone does ads, right? Um sure, but also there are a lot of people who are very successful in just doing social media and it's okay to just try that and to not have to always follow in everybody's footsteps because I like to try and do everything all at once.
Yes, I noticed that about you.
You
Are
couldn't
you
tell.
are you a manifesting generator? Your human design? Do you know anything about that?
I do not,
Oh,
but that
okay.
sounds fun.
Yeah. I'm a
Yeah,
generator, so that's kind of like that energizer of anything. If as long as you're doing what you want to do, you can work at it forever. I just feel
yeah,
like it's
yeah,
so fun and you don't even notice. But if you get trapped into doing work that isn't your calling, then you
Yeah,
get really
yeah,
burnt out because you don't know how to turn off because you just keep going and going and going.
yeah.
So, but a
I feel
manifesting
like that's how.
generator is got like, they just have their toe in so many things, and that's what brings them joy and lights them up. And I mean, I don't know a lot more than that, but
Yeah.
based on what you're talking about, it sounds like you've got some of that energy anyway.
Yeah, it's very reflective of like the Clifton strengths, which
Hmm.
my highest ones are ideation, intellection, and ideation, input, and intellection. And I feel like that in and of itself, like my favorite thing to do is when someone comes to me with a problem, I love thinking up ideas, and I don't care if they take them or not. I just love
Hmm.
spitting out the idea. Um, which has been really fun because I have a good body double friend, and we meet up almost every day during the week when we're both in the office, at office being my attic and their workspace. And they'll often come to me with like, I'm stuck, and I'll just throw out ideas, and they're really good at just being like, no, 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 and I'll just keep going, and they'll just be like, yeah, and I'll be like, perfect.
We've had
And
one.
I really like it because it gives me the little energy pennies.
Hmm.
And so yeah, that sounds very like it resonates with that manifester thing you're talking about.
So you said originally that you were having good progress with ads. And
Yeah,
what made you decide to do ads in the first place if you only had, well, first of all, you said you only had one book, but you don't. You have so
that's
many
true.
books. You've
One starter
co-written
book in each.
two others in complete series. Like it's nerd. I know that the A.B. Cohen one, the Pawn, like that
Yeah,
one
the Leah
is
Ackerman series is
that
complete.
one's complete now. And is Nerds is not complete. That's just an
No, no.
ongoing one that you do with Jeff Elkins, right?
Yeah, we currently have the first book out. We don't have a serial platform for the second season, but it's done. We just need to get it out.
Hmm.
But yeah, I have a lot of starts to series, but not a follow-up to that yet. All of them are pending. And I think that has a hindrance for some people. Um,
Like
I think
readers
that
or
yeah, for
writers.
readers, yeah,
Okay.
because they're like, okay, well, what's next? What's next in this story? And so I think that even though it was working for a while, the I think the reader expectation to have another book out sort of was slowing the process. And so I can see the pre-orders, which is great. But until those come out, I think that I'll see that influx afterwards. So I think what I'm trying to get at is I'm discovering the flow or the expectation that my readers have and how
Mhm.
that diminishes over time. And even though I've had books come out, my niche that is really like prolific for me is the cozy fantasy, and
Mhm.
anything else has become noise and it doesn't feed
Mm.
to it. So, Mosswood Apothecary came out in October, and then in June, no, in February or so, Divine King, the last book in the Ackerman series, came out. But those didn't interact, didn't resound, didn't affect each other
Right.
because my cozy fantasy readers want the next thing. Um, and technically, Mossad Apothecary had the Kickstarter before the book came out in October. It had the Kindle Vella before that. So like it's been out for a long time. So
Hmm.
what's the next newest thing? And one of those things was a story that was released on only one platform, and I didn't have any control over it. And so I spent 6 months of my time writing the story that no one else can see, really, because it's a one specific platform. So it's really hard to get people over to that platform. And
Are you
only
talking about
recently,
the Baker book?
no.
No.
So this is
Okay.
a totally different book.
Okay.
It's a cozy portal fantasy. It's a really long book, but it is currently on a web novel platform. And I've currently asked for the rights back to it, and we'll see if we get those back. But like I've had story, it just hasn't been out in the public, and so it's one of those like I'm realizing at this moment, the readers of my things they can only purchase or get from me Mosswood Apothecary, Mandrake Manor, and the Owlet Cafe. Everything else is sort of pending and waiting.
Hmm. So that's why you decided to pull back on the ads because it
Yeah,
was the ROI just wasn't working.
exactly.
And then I think in your last email, you said that you dropped your social media manager.
Yeah, I just one, I needed to pull back on costs. I think that one of the big things is being laid off from the day job, and I didn't want to look for another thing. In this household, the income I make is the only income that's in this household. So yay. And because of that, there was some cutbacks I had to do, and that was one of them. And what I realized was I have a lot of fun making the graphics. I know that in the future it would be great to have somebody else do them, but now I set aside a Sunday and I do that as my social media Sunday, and I just do it then, and I schedule everything out, and it's really nice. One of the things that I've learned through having a VA is the expectation of when stuff comes to me. And this was nothing wrong with the VA, but I was getting messages every single day about the posts for that day, which was just adding to the anxiety because I'm like, these posts are being made today to go out today, and I have to approve them or suggest changes. Um,
Hmm.
and now I just make them on Sunday and I don't worry about them until the next Sunday,
Nice.
which has been
Okay.
really nice. So I think in the future, when I do obtain another VA, I'll probably be like, do everything on Sunday and send it to me, and we'll worry about it then. Um, just to be more like cherishing of my time,
Hmm.
because all those things take away from my work and from what I want to do. And when you have to like get pinged, that's the most annoying thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So do you work best because you have so many different projects? Do you work best like time blocking or I always think of high school or middle school where you've got like 55 minutes in this class and then you drop everything and you go over and do 55 minutes at this class and like is that the way I should be managing my day or should it be like themed days? This is the day I do the podcast on and nothing else or is it AM and PM? Like how do you organize all of the different projects?
Terribly.
JP, you're supposed to be inspiring me.
Um, So, how I organize my day, I think, is more important than what the project is. I think
Hmm.
I was switching the projects every day and realizing that wasn't working. But I think that the ability to play is the most important thing.
Okay.
For me, my days are pretty structured. I really like having a structured schedule. So I wake up at a very specific time of day, which is super early, and then start my day walking the dog. I come back and I sit at the desk and I work from about 6:30 or 7 a.m. until noon.
Hmm.
And I do Pomodoro method. So either like 30 minutes with a 5 minute break. Now, for me, because I can't do this alone, I do Twitch streams or I body double with someone on Zoom. Um, and those things help. They make sure that I'm accountable at least. And then in terms of like what project I'm working on, um, more or less it's what can I get done and or what is the loudest, which is not the best method, but it is a method.
Hmm.
And so right now I'm finishing up edits for The Alchemist Baker of Rosen, which is the book that has the earliest pre-order, which is in December. Um, and also that will be turned into an audiobook from Simon Maverick. So I want to get it out to them so that we can do sort of a dual release. Um,
And is
and
that
that should be done this
the
week.
second book in the Mosswood Apothecary
Kind of.
world? Okay.
It is so it's not the sequel to Mosswood Apothecary. It's set 200 years prior.
Okay.
This was intended to be a short story and then it got away from me. And it became a
Don't
novel.
you love that?
I didn't love it. I wanted it to be a
No?
short story. And it was like, okay, I guess it's a whole novel now. And so it's taken up a bit more time because I thought it was going to be a short story. And so it's pushed a lot of other things back. But based off of my schedule and my plan, in which I have a very strict body double friend who will keep me to what I say, I need to get done with that by Saturday. So yeah, I have a plan to be done with it and out of my hands by that day.
Wow. All right. Only a few more days.
Only a few more days. I'm super close to being done with it. So, yeah,
With the revision or just the
with the revision, like with
with
the
the
whole thing,
revision,
like
with the
it'll
whole
be
thing?
done and out of my hands.
That's exciting. What are you going to do to celebrate?
Yeah. So that is my biggest flaw is I don't know how to celebrate things.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a strange thing. I've always had this conversation with people and I don't know how to celebrate things. I don't feel the excitement of it being done. I already like have had that or it's already just like cool, I'm done next. Like I'm more excited about working on the next thing than I am about celebrating the thing that I finished,
Hmm.
which is probably not a good or healthy aspect, but that's what I do.
I wonder if you do you have any kind of reflection sort of I mean you must if you do the tarot for the year. Do you have I was going to say do you have any
Yeah.
like monthly reflection period or
Um I mean when I write the newsletters, I reflect on the month.
Mhm.
Um so I think like it's a mix of that. And I guess like the maybe the reason I don't explicitly celebrate it is because I'm more excited about the notion of making the next thing better from what I've done on the thing that I've already done. So like it's all just about like excitement about the next thing. And I
Mhm.
don't have that feel like I'm more than happy to let it go and more excited about moving forward. Um I don't know. Like, there's just something about like everyone asks me like, well, how do you celebrate it? What are you gonna do to celebrate? And I'm like, work on the next thing. And that's not enough. And I'm like, well, I don't have a better answer for you. I just want to work on the next thing.
What is your next thing? What are you excited about?
So I have two things I need to work on, and I need to figure out which one comes first. It will be either the cozy, poly, spicy fantasy that's witchy with Chris,
Mm-hmm.
or it will be Belladonna Bed and Breakfast, which is a sequel to Mandrake Manor.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you decide? Do you have to, I mean, I imagine you would also take Chris into, or whoever you're co-writing with at the moment.
Yeah, it'll what I might do because it's just two projects is I might switch between the two until I know which is partly what I did last time when I had six things on my mind is I would switch every day and then there was one that I was just like I need to keep working on this one. So it was sort of like giving my brain the ability to be like, okay, you have six things on your plate. What do you want to work on? Let's switch every day until you're like I can't give this one up. So I
Hmm.
might do that. Um, but
That's
I
a
know the one with
cool,
Chris.
I like that idea actually. Kind of
Yeah.
like deep work switching. I don't know. I don't know what
Yeah.
you should come up with a name for the method, the JP method of
The
decision
J
making.
the JP unable to make a decision, work on everything method. The risk is burnout, of course, but yeah, I think next time I realize that I have too many things on my plate and giving myself the ability to work on each of them with the idea that I'm going to settle on one is
Hmm.
probably like the best method for me
Hmm.
because I need multiple types of input. I need a ton of ideation. And so yeah, I think that that's part of it. And also like the input thing. This year because of my body double friend, they've encouraged me to get more input. So like I've been reading a ton more. It's been great. I've had a great time with that. I think I normally don't read this many and I'm at 36 already this year. So
Nice.
I'm very excited. I'm having a good year for reading.
What are you reading right now?
I just finished One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston yesterday, and I'm starting it is by Blake Crouch. Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I switched through genres like nobody's business, and it's been fantastic. So One Last Stop was a really cute, sapphic romance about a girl who meets another girl on a train, and it just so happens the girl on the train is from the 70s, and she's trapped on the train. So,
Oh,
it's a really cute
cool.
story. Yeah, yeah. And then Upgrade is like a thriller with like gene splicing. Blake Crouch is really cool about his like use of physics and like quantum mechanics, as well as now in this like gene therapy. So
Very cool. Any nonfiction? Do you read nonfiction on the regular?
um not on the regular, because one of my things is I have to DNF with a ruthless force, and I haven't been able to find. Oh, I
DNF?
did DNF, do not finish. So
Oh,
like if I am like, usually they're audiobooks, and if I'm an hour in the audiobook and it's not grabbing me, it's out of here. I think my last nonfiction was Gulp by Mary Roach. It was a couple months ago, and it was the gustatory tract of a human, and the like history about the various things through the body. So it was kind of cool.
my book that I'm reading right now that's nonfiction is Do Less,
Okay.
which I totally need to remind myself of, and also Creative Act by Rick Rubin. It's such a small little, they're like micro essays almost on
Yeah.
different aspects of creativity. And so you'd think I would just be flying through it, but because it has like natural endpoints often, I find myself not picking it up often. So it's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
hanging around. And I'm also between novels too. And I also try to read widely, but less so since I left the bookstore. I did that on purpose, being at the bookstore because I needed to be able to help people find books because they come in for recommendations all the
Yeah.
time. And if I
Yeah.
didn't know why they liked it or what they liked about it, I couldn't recommend something cross genre. So I'd have to like stick with the genre they were in and hope that it kind of worked. So I do have a big collection now, different stuff. So I wanted to get back to, you said that in-person events, book fairs, you were doing those more because you really enjoyed doing them. But I've always heard,
Yeah.
and my personal experience has been, they're not very um, lucrative.
Lucrative.
I was going to
Yeah.
say ludicrous. I kept wanting to say ludicrous, and I knew
Ludicrous.
that was the wrong word. Lucrative.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Um,
what are your thoughts? Like, what do you unpack that?
yeah, I agree to an extent, especially when starting out.
Okay.
Because there have been many of book events that I went to, because you want to get used to it. And they're local events. They're not very well attended. Sometimes I've literally been to one event a couple of years ago. It was at a library. I don't think there was a single person that came in, and so it was just the authors. But my rule was at the beginning, and it still is a rule, is it's still worth my time if I can network with people. So if I don't see a person, who can I network with there? Who's another author I can meet? That's partly why I started the Rockford Area Writers Group. Now that I've sort of had a couple of years of doing events, um, I'm trying to be both choose more events to go to and also be selective of the events that I go to ensure that there's going to be some type of turnover for it. So I'll look at their past attendance and see, like, based off of successful events that I've had, how many people are planning to go to this event. Of course, you can't guarantee anything, but what I can guarantee is that if I'm in front of you and I can give you a pitch, uh, I can try to do my best in that part to sell you a book. And so like I refine my pitch very quickly. It's one of my like trademarks is that I will give you a pitch very fast, and you will either be in or you won't, but then I'll know, and then you can either move on or buy. Um,
Give
and
us
then
an
of course
example of a pitch.
Mosswood Apothecary is a book about two gay men and they're non-binary from moving into a house together, becoming the neighborhood witches, and defending the neighborhood against an evil homeowners association. So it's both fast and it's also like very clear, and there's usually either a giggle at the end or they're just like, oh, okay, and then they move on. But I will obviously, depending on the person, I say it slower in person, but I do like to say them very fast because I do enjoy that TikTok thing, that hook, like, oh, someone's speaking fast. I gotta listen to everything you're saying. Um, and so yeah, I that's one thing is I try to refine my pitch really well, and I would recommend anyone that wants to do that, do a lot of TikToks, do a lot of fast form short videos where you're throwing your pitch out there. Do it multiple times, even if you're not getting a good response at first, to see if you're starting to get likes off of that, to see how it sounds when you say it, to see if there are better ways to say it, and then to see how people respond to different ways that you say it. So I see a better response when I say two gay men and their non-binary friend, because one, it's very clear about what my book is about. It's both MM, but there's also non-binary character. So instead of me just saying three queer friends, sometimes I get people ask if it's sapphic. It's not. So it helps it be very clear. Like they don't have
Mm-hmm.
questions because it's very pointed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I did a lot of that. I do that pitch a lot, and I just keep practicing it and keep going on, social media. And then when you do it in person, you can see the actual responses that people make when you do that. So yeah, that's a big thing is the pitch. Also, like I said, looking at the attendance of the events. So the last like three events that I've gone to, I would say that I've made about like 2 to 3 weeks worth of normal book sales that I would expect at this point.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, so, and like, uh, I usually sell out of at least one thing that I have. So I'm always like, oh no, I need to bring more of this. But then like it's a little bit different. So like the last event I went to, I sold out of paperbacks of Nerds and of Mandrake Manor. But usually I sell out of like hardcovers. So it's always a wash. You never know
Right.
what you're gonna sell out of, but it's always good to have an option for people. But yeah, I would say in-person events at first are really great if you're looking to network with people to figure out what are the good events around your area, because that's one reason why I don't think writing is a solitary practice, because at the end of the day, if you are an author who also needs to sell books, you have to sort of get to know the other authors in your area so that you have those connections so that you can either learn about other events that are more successful, or ones to steer clear of. And that way you can maybe also have an in, because maybe there is not a clear way to communicate with who the owner is, and now you've made a friend, now they can give you the information. So that was always my goal at the beginning, was how can I network and meet the other authors that are around me, because I don't know them. And I still am meeting new ones today, even though I run a group that now has over 100 members. I still
Mm.
don't know everybody. And so um yeah, I think that that's important, to network at first and then refine. So nowadays, every once in a while, I'll get invited to an event, and I'm not sure if it's a well-attended event, and I do learn to say no, because I do need to preserve some of that energy that I have. Um, and I think that like it's important when you view this as a business, of when it isn't, when you do need to say no, or when you do need to say yes because you're doing it as a favor, or you're doing it to try and help someone else out, as opposed to earning. Because I think that earning is great, also networking is also good and a good idea to have as well.
So when you say networking, are you talking about building relationships with the other writers, or are you okay? You're nodding
Yeah,
your head.
relationship with
Yes.
other
Okay.
writers. Also, even just relationship with other readers. Maybe you don't sell a ton of books that day, but maybe you made a bunch of potential future readers. I get every once in a while, I'll go to an event, and readers that have already bought from me will come to my table just to be like, oh my gosh, I told so and so to get this book, and they just want that connection again. They want that other
Mm-hmm.
touch point. Um, Other times I'll be there and people will be like, I saw you on TikTok, and then they'll get excited and then they'll buy books for themselves or a friend. But you never know. And so I think that like, yeah, if while your goal should always be to sell, that networking aspect is just as important.
So when you like let's go to the Rockford area writers. So when you're networking with the other writers, you are creating opportunities to sell to readers. I'm just wondering about the crossover, I guess. Like if you're an introverted writer, you
Yeah.
have limited spoons, like if you're trying to decide where to put your energy and attention, is it a clear like half of it goes to writers, half of it goes to readers, or is there crossover? Like how do you decide that?
Um, so even though I'm a very quickly spoken person, I would say I'm more or less introverted. Um, I would say that when you go to an event, if it isn't very well attended and you have that energy, those spoons still present, use those spoons to network. If you're at an event and it's super well attended, use those spoons to engage with readers and to sell and to, so that's one big thing.
Hmm.
Um, one of the reasons why I really push for like you to get to know your other local writers, and those that have published is because I think that you should be able to talk to the other writers in the area, figure out what works in the area. Are there bookstores in the area that accept local books that you might want to be a part of? Is there a way to make friendships with the local bookstores? Are there arts councils that you don't know certain events are happening? Ways that the city itself might help uplift you, or stopgaps that aren't worth exploring because your community maybe doesn't participate in that. But it's better to sort of form those bonds with other writers who may have already tried what you're trying to do instead of trying to do it as well and having to expend all of that energy when someone else has already done it. And now you have instead made that group of friends and you guys can collectively do things together, whether it be find the events that are worth attending, share on socials, because especially when you're talking about in-person events, there is a locality to it. So if you're doing a local author event, does it really matter if you're a cozy fantasy author and they're a thriller writer, if you're both going to the event? Or is it more important that both of you are posting about it and having that geotag so that your network of people then can see it and then there's more eyes on that local event? And I think that when it comes to locality, that's more important is like the sharing locally is intended so that that bubble of space around you can see what's happening.
In terms of all of the pivoting and tweaking that you've done in the last, well, actually, I mean, I could say a year, but really in the last few months, sounds like
Yeah,
you've done most of the pivoting and tweaking.
everything's fine.
Does it seem like going forward, you've created a way to check in more often to see if adjustments are necessary as you go instead of getting hit with the card, that says
Yeah, yeah.
rock bottom, dude?
Rock bottom, baby. Have fun. Um, I think that like part of this is the like second year, sophomore year growing pains. Um,
Hmm.
the concept of the dip. I feel like things are looking up. And I think that like one of the things that I have bounds of is persistence. And I think that um that's one thing. Now to your question of like, do I have better checks and balances? Um, I don't think I have a system for that yet, but instead what I've done is I've recognized certain patterns that I have and I've sought for ways to change, mitigate, or talk about those, and be more honest about them, maybe.
To
Um,
yourself?
to myself, to others. So I think that like it's been a collection of things this past couple of months that I want to really be uh more present and have a stronger community because that's always been my thing. I always talk about community, but I pulled away, I feel. And so now I'm seeking for how can I have more of that voice. As for like the checks and balances at the moment, no, I should probably put in like monthly check-in, weekly check-in. I do have a planner that I occasionally write in. I
Mhm.
pull daily tarots as well as monthly tarots. And maybe having some more intention behind it would probably be a good thing. Um, a lot of it's just talking. A lot of it's just talking about stuff and making sure that uh, the more that I say it out loud, the more it happens. So this is part of
Mhm.
the cathartic thing is for me, I have to say it. I have to speak it into existence, and therefore maybe it'll at least stick for a little bit.
Mhm. So you said you have to be more honest with yourself about what? About what's working and what's not working?
And like the what's working, what's not working. Am I am I overworking myself? The answer is yes. And then uh also just making sure that the various things that I am doing are what will move myself forward, the quote unquote needle. And the needle is not someone else's needle. The needle
Mhm.
is, am I happy with my business? Am I happy with what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis? And am I taking care of myself?
Mhm.
And I think that like I've done some things that gone and seen various people and talked to them about various things and aspects about myself, and also looked at like the way that my business functions. And I know I should probably have, a day off at some point, and more vacations. But I do really love this work, and I think that that's one of the things with writers, especially when you're given the opportunity to do full time, whether you were expecting it or not, is it can become the obsessive part of life. And so I do it every day, and I don't think I would give that up because I enjoy it. However, the opportunity to enjoy life outside of that has always been one of those things that I'm trying to do more of.
Mhm.
Be it, spend the day with my partner and go somewhere, or go on a little vacation somewhere or something like that.
Yeah, family time and yeah.
Yeah,
I
family time, whatever.
being here in the tropics now, like almost every day, my husband is like, "Do you want to go to the pool today? Do you want to go to the pool today?" And the
You
answer
have to
is
pick your
always,
day.
yeah, but I've got client work and this deadline, and I'm trying it. We're going to go on vacation next month, so I've got to finish a project before then, and there's a bunch of stuff that I'm trying to fit in, and so I do have to say no sometimes, and that I feel guilty because I'm part of the reason we moved here was so that I would not
Yeah,
be so treadmill and that we could enjoy our time and
yeah,
live a more pura vida, tranquilo, lifestyle. So I too am struggling with when do I go to the pool? When do I not go to the
yeah.
pool?
Can you give yourself like, even if it's just one, like one little box of like, I can have fun this week. And if I check it, then maybe I can't the rest of the week, but I did check that box off so I could do it at least once this week. Um, I try to
Yeah,
think of stuff like that because like my partner will occasionally be like, "Hey, do you want to spend this day and do this?" And my first instinct is always like, "No, it ruins the schedule." But then my second, like before I say anything, my second is like, "But wait, you made up the schedule. You made up the
right.
rules. You can change the rules today."
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I try to like I will often say no, but there are the times where I'm like, I can do that today. Like I don't have to do this today. I can push most of this off tomorrow and not feel a major impact of it. So I just wonder if maybe like the little whatever that is, the little like I'm allowing myself at least one of these a week,
Hmm.
um, is possible.
And also for me, it's boundary setting. Like if I
Yeah.
say, okay, my work days are Monday through Thursday. Friday is beach day, Saturday is cleaning the house and, menu planning and whatever. And Sunday is like couples day, just a day of rest and impulsivity. And I quite like that schedule. But then Monday through Thursday, the days that I do need to work, I still have a somewhat flexible schedule, and I could spontaneously and do often go to the pool in the
Yeah.
afternoon. But then, like you said, it messes up the schedule.
It's so important. I I had the strangest thing when I worked the corporate life. We I worked in a lab and we would do these various tests. And one of the tests that we did had a component to it that we could only order from a place in California. And when we ran out, I sometimes would be the one that had to call to reorder it. And it would just go straight to voicemail and it'd be like, "Hey, the surf's really good today. We'll get back to your message tomorrow." And I'm like, "Excuse you? Like it's a Tuesday." But like imagine that life. And maybe I don't think it could ever be for me, but to like function in which just a good day is worth it to say, nah, I'm not going to do work today because I can enjoy today. And I really like that. And I think that that's something that a lot of us should probably move towards is that like you can allow yourself outside of that schedule. I'm telling myself this more than
Right?
anyone.
I
I'm like, this sounds kind of nice. Um, and like for me, what I did recently was like I take the dog on a walk in the morning and I love my morning walk so much just because it gets me outside and in nature. That's something I never did when I worked the corporate job. Um, and I get to do that now because who cares if I want to go explore another block or another 2 blocks? Because I'm the one that controls the schedule. So I'm just like, well, as long as I'm home around this time, who cares? Um, and so trying to add more of that is probably good for myself. Yeah, yeah,
You were talking about your schedule, like you walk the dog in the morning and then you stay at the desk all morning. And then what do you do after the
the
morning? Do
afternoon.
you
Um,
take the afternoons off?
Absolutely not. That's a silly question. Um, So my mornings are my like creative time.
Hmm.
It's really when like I can write, I can edit. And then I've just found that in the afternoons it's a much more difficult for me to get into the writing or editing mode. So I recently have been doing TikTok lives. And then I will pack orders while I talk with people, try to get some more sales and just sort of like have a good conversation with people about books. I've more recently been doing the lives, and it was after I had a pseudo epiphany that a TikTok live for a bookseller or an author who is selling their books is the equivalent of doing an in-person event, except you just can't see the people walking by your table. Um,
Mm.
and so like reframing it that I can see when people join, but I can't necessarily see how long some people are staying, which is fine. But like if I can see that people are joining, I'm trying to tell my brain that it's the equivalent of people walking by, so I can give the pitch over and over again. And it's not boring because some people are staying because they want to have a conversation. I'm happy to have that. Some people are just hopping in for a quick time and want to know what you're all about.
Hmm.
And it's the same thing that happens at an in-person event. And so by telling my brain that, I've been able to sort of have a bit more fun doing the lives. There was a really big barrier for myself to get on them, which makes no sense because I do Twitch lives almost every day, but it's the difference is so strong that it was really hard for me to do TikTok lives and feel comfortable. But now I'm finding comfort in that and just knowing that I'm basically like a virtual book fair or virtual book event for people.
That's a cool way to look at it. I like that.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. Well, we are almost out of time. I do wanted to ask about your collabs lately. You used to be in a couple of, at one point, I think you were in 3 different podcasts, maybe hosting three
yeah.
different
That's probably
podcasts.
the case.
Are you
That
down
sounds
to,
about
you're
right.
just down to one now, or you were talking about how can you have more community? You want to move back
Yeah.
into community. So what are some of the ways that you're doing that now?
So, I occasionally still hop into Writers Inc. podcast. I'm not there quite as often, but if they have somebody out and I'm able to hop in, or if because I still get the emails about the various books that are coming out, if I want to do an interview, I do that. And then I'm occasionally on Dialogue Doctor, and then a couple
Joints with
months ago.
JP.
Yeah, Joints with JP, my least favorite title. But I want to say it was like two months ago or so. This was around the Ten of Swords time. I just really had that like moment where I was like, where is the podcast that is a roundtable podcast of authors who consistently show up and just sort of talk about how their author business is going? The majority of us are full-time authors, and uh, I didn't feel like that fully existed outside of like the groups that I knew, because most of them are interview based, which is perfectly fine, or like sort of like informational based or something along those lines. And I was just missing the like accountability conversation and like trying to navigate what that looked like. And so I brought it up to, I think, Chris at first, and then I brought it up to Jeff, and Jeff was like, well, let's do a podcast. And he got super excited and he wanted to do it. So we gathered some people. It's Jeff, myself, Tom Holbrook. I almost said Tom Holland, which would have been really funny. And then Holly Line and Chris. So it's five of us, and we show up every month, and we talk about what our plan was for the previous month, what we got done, what maybe like some stop gaps that we're having or issues that we're having, what was successful, and then what is our plan for next month. And then we may have like an additional question that arose from the conversation we had last time or something like that. But really, it was a mix between accountability and also just like honesty, so that if anyone else was experiencing that, they would get a vibe of like, oh, other authors are experiencing this and here's what they
Yeah.
tried.
I miss doing that with Eric too. That was kind of
Yeah.
what Writer Craft was
Yeah.
conversations about craft and creativity. And there was a lot of author accountability in there. And yeah, so I've
Yeah.
pivoted more to the interview style because he's not here to hang out with anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. And I feel like one day that might happen with us. It's five of us. That's quite a
Hmm.
big number. And so I think that at some point someone may fade in or fade out, and someone may fade
Hmm.
in.
Yeah.
But I think that the structure of it, what was it? Six-figure authors used to have it.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
they're gone. And so
I liked that
like,
podcast. Yeah.
exactly.
What's
Yeah.
the
And
name
that
of
was sort of
yours?
what we were missing.
Right.
Right, wrong, repeat.
Right. Repeat. Nice.
So a play on write, publish, repeat.
Yeah. And rinse and repeat.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm super excited to talk to you again. So let's do final plugs. So Mosswood Apothecary in audio dropped today. Yeah.
Yes. Simon
Okay.
Maverick. Yep.
And you've got the Baker. I keep saying the
Yep.
Baker book. What is it called again?
The Alchemist Baker of Rosen, which is on pre-order, scheduled to release in December. We'll see if it comes out earlier. Um, we've got Belladonna Bed and Breakfast, the sequel to Mandrake Manor, coming out in February. We have Bone and Ward, which is an innuendo, the cozy poly, spicy, witchy fantasy, coming out in April. And then
Do
a
you have
collection of
pre-orders for
others.
all of those?
Yes. All
Okay,
three of
so
those have pre-orders, so I won't mention the other ones because those ones have pre-orders.
okay, so you've got a bunch of pre-orders. I'll find the links and put them in the show notes and the new audiobook.
Yeah,
All right. Anything else you want to plug?
I don't think so. It's
All
just me.
right. It's just you. I'll put the link to your website and your store. And awesome.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks
so
for
much for
coming
having me
on.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this was fun. It was good to catch up with you. Talk to you later.
See
Bye.
ya. Bye.